Gemini, what is going on? Welcome in. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me. I super appreciate you always. I am Deborah. This is Purusha Intuitive, and we're going to be looking at your energy for the next couple weeks. So welcome in. I love to start off my readings with an energy cleanse, so we are going to do that with the Sage Smudge Bundle. Feel free to grab one if you have on hand, you want to participate on your end. Obviously, you can receive what I'm doing because energy is fluid if you don't have a smudge bundle, is what I'm saying. This is also a really good time to set intention. If we have any questions or, just needing insight around a specific thing that's happening in our life, this is a good time to ask those questions to Spirit, Universe, God, however you understand it. What I love about doing an energy cleansing is it really just kind of helps set the intention, yes, like I said, right? But then also just releasing any blocks, obstacles that we might be running into. There's a lot happening, and honestly, the energy is pretty heavy astrologically. There's a lot of feeling and emotion and things going on, loss, release that we have to be doing. And most of it's not comfortable, right? It's not very fun, right? And the places that we care about these things, we wish they would have worked out differently in our life. And we're all going through it. That's definitely a collective energy of Pluto moving into Aquarius. Capricorn energy, which is the sign right before, forces us to do the work, to learn the lessons, to figure out what's working and what's not, what is creating a lot of burden, struggle, unnecessary effort that, we don't really need to be putting into our life so that we can get towards our wish fulfillment, right? The things that really honor our heart, our mind, our soul, that make us happy and fulfilled in this life. That is what we deserve. We deserve to enjoy the life we're living, ironically or not. Sometimes we feel that way. A lot of times we don't. That's just the nature of the beast. So we'll start off with an energy cleansing. I'm using Sage as a smudge bundle. It's really good of just like removing unnecessary, cleansing and purifying. That's really what Sage is all about. It helps cleanse and purify, which we all need, right? We all could use a little detox, especially an energetic one. All right, Gemini, let's get going. I bless you with pure love and light, pure source energy, pure loving grace. I release anything that is blocking the highest and best messages from coming through. Fear, doubt, anxiety, uncertainty, anger, frustration, all that stuff. Help make me a clear and open channel for the collective. Thank you, Father God, Spirit guides, guardian angels, Mama. Amen. All right. So welcome in, Gemini. We are currently in Aries season, and Aries rules the first house, the house of self. This is the time of year that we want to be focusing on who we are, following off those messages that I was just talking about earlier. It's good to invest in ourselves. When we invest in ourselves, when we feel strong, confident, then we can show up in our life in a stronger and more self-assured way. And right now, Spirit is really wanting us to value who we are, the gifts that we have, and what we bring to the table. And we have been going through it, right? Collectively, there's a lot of water energy. We're just moving out of Pisces season. We're having a cycle shift with Pluto moving into Aquarius. So Spirit really wants us to be honest and aware with what's working, with what's not, where we're coming from, healing past stuff so we can be birthed anew, so to speak. Cheesy but true, Gemini. Cheesy but true. All right, let's look at your overarching energy for the next 2 weeks. Uranus, I love this. This is a rebellious energy, and it actually feels very appropriate for Gemini because, well, number one, Uranus is in Taurus right now. And so I see this as following what I was saying before. Like, we have to be willing to do things different than what we've been doing in the past. It is scary. There is that proverbial fear of the unknown. But Uranian energy gives us the rebelliousness to say F you and I'm going to try it my way, or I'm going to do something that honors my heart more. Maybe I've been trying over and over and over again to do it this one way and it just hasn't manifested, right? Taurus energy, the second house, it's also the house of money and possessions. So maybe you're seeing some different shifts in how you're approaching your career, how you're making your money, how you're like actually handling your money as well, is what I'm hearing, especially if you are in partnership, in relationship where you share finances, whether that be at home or in business, etc. I'm hearing this value of you paying attention a little bit more, tapping into this wealth potential that you really desire. And it's coming from a space of a lot of thought, understanding, contemplation. It's not willy-nilly. It's not like you're just like making a choice, you know, because you thought of a thing 1 second ago. This is actually something you've been contemplating a lot, and it's because you need more balance in your life. Virgo energy rules the 6th house, and that is the house of health and well-being. Right now, Black Moon Lilith is in Virgo, and that's why we're seeing a lot of people getting sick, you know, challenges around our health and wellness, how we're taking care of ourselves. Are we having balance between our work and personal life? Or are we just burning the candle at both ends? And for you specifically, Gemini, whatever you've been doing, however you've been showing up, you're coming into this space of like, you know, I've thought about this. This actually makes more sense for me, and I'm gonna choose this path because it actually is way better for me overall. It actually honors me through and through. And it's difficult because you are the energy of duality, right? Gemini is basically, you know, the embodiment of the masculine and feminine is how I look at it. It's the twins, right? You can easily navigate between two very opposing energies and in kind of like a fluid way, which is pretty dope. But the downside of it is it's a struggle to find balance in the process, balance and harmony with how you want to show up, how those opposing forces interact together. One day you might be feeling one way, the next day you might be feeling the next way, right? So Spirit's really asking you to be cognizant of how can you honor both those things for yourself, but still take care of your heart, your mind, and your soul. I'm hearing this as making sure that you're not going too far one way or the other in terms of, you know, maybe you're feeling a little feisty one day, and maybe that feistiness leads you to make choices that on different days you don't feel so proud of, or it's not something that really honors your heart. Spirit's basically asking you, find a little bit more balance. Maybe you allow yourself some feistiness in certain areas, but it doesn't mean it has to permeate every aspect of your life. And in a way that's detrimental, when you come out of that energy, you're like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have said that, etc. But what I love is over these next 2 weeks, you're finding a little bit more grounding and stability. You just had to break away from this energy that was feeling really limiting and restrictive. And sometimes when we're in that space of like trying to make it okay, trying to make it work. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. You know, we're almost like shoving things down, right? And then finally we can't handle it anymore because there's no more space to shove down, right? And so we step into this energy of not necessarily exploding, but saying, I'm not going to do it this way anymore. And so when we step outside of that, that is where we do have to find some amount of grounding and balance in how we're going to be moving forward, especially so we don't walk back into something that doesn't honor us. And that's what Spirit is saying. Something in your life right now is it's leaving you behind. You're leaving it behind, however you want to see it. It is an ending of a cycle. It's an ending of an era, is how I'm hearing it. It's not as simple as, one little thing that you're cutting off that you don't really have to worry about. It's actually you making choices to empower yourself. And again, sometimes those things are easier said than done, especially if we've been in a cycle for a really long time with a person, with a situation, or even a belief system, right? Back to what I was talking about with money and finances and how we're showing up for ourselves, how we're feeling sustained and supportive. If we've been under this lack mentality for however long, it is really hard to come out of that because we're so used to fearing worst case scenario, and you've really been working beyond those things, not only in your own like mental, emotional body, but I hear in your practical world, right? Like how you're showing up for things. You're refining, you're growing, you're building, and you're ready for this. Because again, this Virgo balance and harmony energy, it's really stable, it's really strong, it's very grounded, and you feel very confident in what you're choosing. You've gotten to the point where it's just like, I know what I know, and this is how I am going to approach. Yeah, of course. 5 of Swords. I love that we start with this in your energy because that is you like setting some really strong boundaries. And we need that right now. We need strong boundaries, especially when we are recalibrating our body, our mind, our soul. Yeah, because you're moving forward. I love this. 5 to the 6 of Swords, right? So we set those boundaries so we can move forward, so we don't feel so stuck in the old. And yes, it takes courage, but you are a sign, in my opinion, that does have a lot of confidence and courage. Most Geminis that I know, stepping into that power. And that's why you're creating those boundaries, right? You're basically saying that whatever was in the past hasn't been working. It hasn't really been honoring your heart, your mind, and your soul. And so now you're making new choices in order to honor yourself in a more holistic way, right? It's the Fool. I feel like this is someone in your environment that wasn't really expecting this shift at all. This is someone who I'm hearing maybe like looks a little foolish or feels a little foolish or is like, oh shit, this is actually happening. Like, I never really thought that Gemini was going to do this. I never thought that this is how the things were going to go. And so now what? They're in uncharted waters, right? They don't really, like, they've never been down this road before. It's uncharted territory or waters. I'm not really sure. One of the two, right? And this is a tough lot for them. There's something about this that is making it feel really difficult for them. I'm hearing it as because it wasn't expected, because they just kind of thought you would follow suit and you wouldn't really set these boundaries up with them. They just thought that they were always going to get their way, right? And so now that that's not really happening, now that they're seeing things very clearly, that things are shifting and changing, there's not the same confidence coming from them. Maybe this is, I'm hearing this is someone who was very controlling in the relationship. That's why you had to rebel. That's why you had to break free, because it wasn't really honoring your heart, your mind, and your soul. And what you're seeing is the way that they're communicating, the way that they're showing up is actually like not at all what they sold themselves to be. It's someone or a situation that painted themselves in a way that it was like this, and in reality, it's not. And when we step into these very empowered versions of ourselves, the Empress, she is the embodiment of feminine power. You know, regardless of what gender you are, she has this abundance. She has this wisdom, this fertility. She sees things how they are. And the thing is, all she could do, all you could do was set these boundaries, because whatever this person was thinking, doing, saying towards you, you could never win. And not in a way that you are trying to come out on top. I don't hear that, Gemini. I just feel like you actually did want this balance. You did want things to get better. You did want things to heal. But for whatever reason, this individual was very resistant, right? So now we have this Ace of Pentacles. Both of you are facing new beginnings, irregardless of whether either side wants it or not. Like I said, I feel like your energy is a little bit more fed up moving through these next couple weeks and not really buying into it anymore. You might not be saying this. You guys might not have a big blowout moment at, within these next couple weeks, because right now that tower is being blocked. To me, it feels like it's the bubbling underneath the surface. The tower is coming. We can't avoid tower moments in our life. And I'm not saying that in a Debbie Downer kind of way, right? I'm not saying like, you're screwed, because it's not about that at all. Spirit's just saying like, sometimes we try to like, make it work, find different ways of approaching a situation, a person, an individual, trying, and it keeps it at bay for some time. But it still doesn't mean that the pressure isn't building behind the scenes. And that's where the tower moment eventually appears. Right now, it's being kept at bay. Right now, things are not horrible. You're just making your decisions, you're setting your boundaries, and this person's like, shit, It's as simple as that. You want to see how things move before you make any drastic decisions, is what I'm hearing. But what I love about your energy, Gemini, is you're not really invested one way or the other. While you haven't made a decision quite yet around this, you still know a decision has to be made. And I feel like this decision is actually going to be very much intertwined with the tower moment that you walk into. Again, this is probably going to happen so the side note is we are approaching a Mercury retrograde on April 1st. So you might be seeing this tower moment come to head during Mercury retrograde pretty much the whole month of April. Mercury is going to be in retrograde. Okay, so we get 8 of Cups, 10 of Wands. It's too stressful. So again, that goes to show why you are setting those boundaries, because the toxicity has been enough. You're over and done with it. You see through it, and you see through it very clearly, and it's very effing annoying. That's what I hear. Because here's the thing. The cool thing about you, Gemini, is you're able to connect with a lot of people, places, and things because of your duality, because you can kind of embody a lot of different energies, right? It is this vibe of shape-shifting, so to speak, not in a negative way. Please don't hear it as that. But just like being able to connect on a lot of different levels because of who you are and because of how you embody those energies. But when a person, place, or thing hits this moment of like being too toxic that it ends up making it so difficult for you, all you want to do is step away. Yeah, because it's something you thought was going to be good, but it actually ended up not being very good. That's what I'm hearing with that we get 8 of Cups, 10 of Wands, 9 of Cups. So this is that value of like what you thought was going to be a really good and positive thing. It actually ended up being way more stressful than what you could have hoped for. But the silver lining Spirit wants to say is just remain balanced. Double confirmation with the Temperance, remain balanced through the process. This isn't ending. You know what's happening. This isn't anything new under the sun. And I do feel like you're geared towards this. You've made your decision. Being an air sign, you're very good at kind of making these very clear and concise decisions, especially on the intellectual. It doesn't mean it doesn't hurt you. It doesn't mean it doesn't suck or it doesn't feel shitty. But at the same time, you have peace within yourself because you see the imbalance, because you see the things that this person just was stupid. They were stupid. They were foolish. They took advantage, and they thought that you were too stupid to see that. Sorry. This is coming out a little bit harsh. I apologize. I like the I like the positive readings. Yeah, it's very interesting. I really love this card. I got this deck during the pandemic, ironically, and the Plague Doctor was one card that would come up all the time, right? And rightfully so. Actually, the way the astrology was aligning during the pandemic was the same as when there was the Spanish flu, which I think is cool. I mean, not cool because I'm not encouraging ill will or, but the value is if we look at the patterns, if we look at the synchronicities, if we look at the collective energy, then we can actually prepare for the things that are coming our way. And what I'm hearing for you in this, sorry, that was my little tangent, but especially in this situation, it is an infestation. It is something that needs to be plugged out. It is something that needs to be eradicated. And I think you know that. I feel like this person's situation is trying to bide their time. They're trying to get as much as they possibly can out of you. But yeah, it's all smoke and mirrors. It's dangling these little, it's a lot of manipulation, right? I'm going to do this. I'll be better. I'll blah, blah, blah. It's empty promises. That's what I hear. And they know how to play on your heartstrings. They know how to pull, right, at the different, dangling the different charms in front of you in hopes that you will attach to something. But again, this rope is reminding you of the need to set really heavy boundaries and not allow this person, not allow this situation to take too much of your power. You're seeing the signs, and now it's time to trust your instincts, trust what you see, sense, and feel, and make actions accordingly. Gemini, I understand that this is not easy at all. It can be very painful, right? And especially if you are in this Empress energy where you have a lot of people coming to because you're a leader, because you're someone who they look up to. It can be very difficult to know when it's time to cut someone off, know when it's time to really detach your energy. But basically what this reading is saying for you, it is time. It's time to detach, because then you get the opportunity to move forward instead of staying stuck in the karma, in the bullshit, in whatever this foolish individual, someone who's not smart, someone who doesn't get it, so that they don't keep influencing you. Sorry. Sorry about all that. That feels like a really heavy reading. But honestly, we've been having some heavy readings in the zodiac sign. So I apologize in advance. It's just the nature of the beast right now. And like I said, I really think that if we're willing to see, if we're willing to acknowledge even the things that are hard and painful, disappointing, and do something about it, we're actually going to be way better off, especially as the year progresses. We're in a lot of testing time, so to speak. Spirit is testing us. How far we come? Are we choosing to implement the learning lessons that we have, or are we just pretending it's going to be fine, right? If we pretend, it loops us back into the karma. If we can actually rise above and empower ourselves and heal and grow and evolve, we're coming into wish fulfillment. So with that said, Gemini, I hope this helped. Thank you so much for your time, energy, just supporting the channel. It means a lot to my heart. I am sending all the love and blessings for what you're navigating through, and I will see you in a few weeks.